The studio of The View was buzzing with energy as the audience settled into their seats, unaware that they were about to witness one of the most shocking live television moments in recent memory. Cameras rolled, lights gleamed off the polished floors, and producers hurriedly checked scripts and monitors, ensuring everything was perfect for today's high-profile guest. Liam Neeson, known for his commanding presence and gravely voice, was scheduled to discuss his latest film projects and philanthropic efforts. The expectation was for a calm, engaging interview, the kind where Neeson's charm and wit would captivate viewers. No one anticipated the storm that would unfold. Joy Behar, seated across from Neeson, seemed unusually animated from the moment the show began. Her usual playful banter carried an extra edge, a subtle signal that she intended to push boundaries. Initially, the conversation was light and pleasant. Joy asked about Neeson's career milestones, his experiences on iconic sets, and his thoughts on the changing landscape of Hollywood. Liam answered with the measured poise fans had come to expect, offering insights and anecdotes that charmed the audience. Laughter and applause punctuated the early segment, creating an atmosphere of anticipation and enjoyment. Then, without warning, Joy shifted her tone. Her questions became pointed, almost provocative, designed to test Neeson's patience. "So, Liam," she began, leaning forward, "you've always admired strong personalities. What does that mean exactly? Can you give an example?" Her eyes sparkled with mischief, and the audience sensed the change. The other co-hosts exchanged subtle glances, recognizing the potential for a tense exchange. Neeson, maintaining his composure, responded diplomatically. "I admire people who are confident, who speak their minds," he said, choosing his words carefully. But Joy was not satisfied. She pressed on, blurring professional boundaries, and injected a personal twist. "Well, I'm speaking my mind right now. Do you admire me, Liam? Really admire me?" The audience's reaction was immediate. Gasps and whispers filled the studio, while cameras captured Neeson's momentary hesitation. He blinked, a flicker of discomfort passing over his features. "Joy, that's very direct," he replied, his voice steady but measured. Joy leaned closer, undeterred, continuing to provoke. "Remember when you said I was interesting? What did you mean by that? Let's give the people a headline." The other hosts tried to intervene subtly, signaling that the conversation was veering into dangerous territory, but Joy pressed on. "You're single. I'm charming. We could make a great story. What do you say?" For a moment, time seemed to pause. The audience was caught between laughter and disbelief. Neeson's expression hardened slightly, his calm demeanor beginning to show signs of strain. He exhaled slowly, choosing his words with care. "I came here to discuss my work," he said, maintaining politeness despite the provocation. Joy, sensing a challenge, pushed further, attempting to frame the situation as playful. "Oh, don't be shy. It's all in good fun." But the fun had clearly ended. Neeson's decision was immediate and decisive. He pushed back his chair, stood, and addressed the room with measured authority. "I'm sorry, but I won't continue this conversation." The studio fell silent. Producers scrambled off stage, co-hosts called his name, but Neeson remained calm, resolute, and unyielding. Without a backward glance, he walked off the set, leaving a stunned audience and a visibly unsettled Joy Behar behind. Cameras continued rolling, capturing the stunned reactions of the crew and viewers alike. The commercial break that followed could not erase the shock. Social media erupted, clips circulated, and debates raged online about whether Joy Behar had indeed pushed too far. The incident became an immediate talking point, not just for fans of the show, but for anyone witnessing the rare moment a seasoned actor publicly walked away from a live interview. It was a testament to Neeson's composure, his boundaries, and the unexpected volatility of live television. By the end of the day, one thing was certain: this encounter had made history. Liam Neeson had left a mark not through words, but through action, reminding audiences everywhere that even in the high-pressure world of live television, personal integrity comes first, and some lines are simply not meant to be crossed. If you want, I can also create 2 additional 600-word expansions with slightly different angles, one more dramatic, one more humorous. Do you want me to do that? The tension in the View studio was palpable the moment Liam Neeson walked onto the set. Cameras followed his every step as he moved with the quiet, commanding presence that had become his trademark over decades in Hollywood. The audience applauded, excited to see the legendary actor up close, but few could have predicted the storm that was about to erupt. Producers whispered last-minute instructions to the crew, while co-hosts tried to mask their anticipation. Today's segment was meant to be an insightful discussion about Neeson's new projects, charitable work, and reflections on his career, but the air crackled with a sense that something unexpected was brewing. Joy Behar, known for her fearless and sometimes provocative interviewing style, seemed unusually determined. She leaned forward, a mischievous gleam in her eye, as she greeted Neeson. Initially, the conversation proceeded smoothly. Liam spoke eloquently about his latest film, recounting behind-the-scenes stories and sharing heartfelt anecdotes about the people who had influenced him throughout his career. The audience listened intently, hanging on every word, while the other co-hosts nodded appreciatively, expecting a relaxed, informative segment. Then, almost imperceptibly, Joy shifted gears. Her questions began to probe more personally, threading the line between professional curiosity and personal intrusion. "Liam," she asked, her tone deceptively casual, "you've spoken about admiring strong personalities. What exactly does that mean? Can you give an example?" Her gaze was sharp, her smile playful yet daring. The studio felt a subtle tightening of tension, and the audience stirred in their seats, sensing that the exchange might veer off script. Neeson maintained his calm demeanor, responding carefully. "I respect people who are confident and authentic, who are willing to stand by their convictions," he said, his voice steady. But Joy was relentless. "Well, I'm speaking my mind right now. Do you admire me, Liam? Truly admire me?" The question landed like a spark in dry tinder. Gasps and murmurs rippled through the audience. Liam blinked, a flicker of surprise crossing his usually composed face. "Joy, that's very direct," he replied cautiously, clearly attempting to steer the conversation back to safer territory. Joy leaned in, undeterred by his restraint, pushing boundaries further. "Remember when you mentioned finding me interesting? Let's break that down. What exactly did you mean?" The audience deserves an answer. The co-hosts exchanged uneasy glances, realizing the conversation was no longer playful banter, it was becoming confrontational. Joy's insistence intensified, teasing the line between humor and discomfort. "You're single, I'm charming, why not make a little excitement for the viewers?" For a moment, the room seemed frozen in anticipation. Neeson's calm exterior remained, but the subtle tension in his posture signaled his growing discomfort. He took a measured breath. "I'm here to talk about my work, not personal speculation," he said firmly but politely, attempting to maintain composure amidst the mounting pressure. Joy, undaunted, tried to frame the interaction as harmless fun. "Oh, don't be shy. This is all in good spirits," she said, still smiling. But it was clear that Neeson's patience had limits. Without warning, he pushed back his chair, stood, and addressed the room with quiet authority. "I'm sorry, but I will not continue this conversation," he declared. The studio erupted in stunned silence. The crew scrambled behind the cameras, while co-hosts called after him, trying to salvage the moment. But Neeson remained unwavering. Calm, dignified, and resolute, he walked off the set, leaving the audience and hosts alike in shock. The aftermath was immediate. Social media exploded with clips of the dramatic exit, debates flared online about whether Joy had crossed the line, and viewers replayed the moment in disbelief. Neeson's choice to walk away became a symbol of personal boundaries and integrity in the high-pressure world of live television. It was a rare instance where an actor's actions spoke louder than words, leaving an indelible impression on the audience and setting a benchmark for professional composure in the face of unexpected provocation. If you want, I can also produce Expend 3 in a slightly more sensational, tabloid-style tone to match the drama. Do you want me to do that next? The studio of The View was buzzing with the usual pre-show energy, the kind that makes live television unpredictable and exciting. Crew members scurried behind the cameras, adjusting lights and monitors, while the audience settled into their seats, unaware that they were about to witness one of the most dramatic moments in the show's history. Today's guest was none other than Liam Neeson, the veteran actor whose calm demeanor and commanding presence had captivated audiences worldwide. Everyone expected a polished, engaging interview, filled with stories of his film career and philanthropic efforts. No one, however, anticipated that the segment would explode into chaos. Joy Behar, as always, arrived with her signature mix of humor and audacity. But there was something different in her approach today, a spark that suggested she planned to push the boundaries further than ever before. From the moment the cameras started rolling, her energy was electric, and the audience could sense that this interview would not follow the usual script. Initially, the conversation was conventional. Liam spoke eloquently about his latest film, shared heartfelt stories from sets past, and reflected on the people who had shaped his career. Laughter and applause punctuated the dialogue, creating an atmosphere of warmth and admiration. Then, almost imperceptibly, Joy pivoted. Her questions became more pointed, her tone edged with provocation. "Liam," she said, leaning forward, a mischievous glint in her eye, "you've mentioned before that you admire strong personalities. What does that really mean? Can you give us an example?" The audience stirred, sensing a shift in the dynamic. The other co-hosts exchanged uneasy glances, recognizing that Joy was maneuvering the conversation into risky territory. Neeson responded with calm diplomacy. "I admire people who are confident, who speak their minds," he said carefully, trying to navigate the sudden tension. But Joy pressed on, her teasing now laced with personal undertones. "Well, I'm speaking my mind right now. Do you admire me, Liam? Really admire me?" The question landed with a jolt. Gasps rippled through the audience, some laughter, some shock. Neeson blinked, a rare flash of surprise crossing his otherwise composed face. "Joy, that's very direct," he said, his voice steady but cautious. Unfazed, Joy leaned in further, pressing the matter with playful insistence. "Come on, Liam. Remember when you said I was interesting? What exactly did you mean? People want answers." The co-host shifted uncomfortably, aware that the conversation was teetering on the edge of personal intrusion. Joy continued, suggesting a narrative that blurred professionalism and flirtation. "You're single. I'm charming. We could create some real excitement for the viewers. Isn't that worth considering?" For a brief moment, the studio seemed frozen. Neeson's calm exterior barely concealed his discomfort. He exhaled slowly, choosing his words carefully. "I came here to talk about my work," he said, firm yet polite, attempting to regain control of the conversation. Joy, however, framed the situation as harmless fun, smiling brightly as she urged him on. "Oh, don't be shy. It's all in good fun," she said, dismissing his restraint. But it was clear that Neeson's patience had reached its limit. Without hesitation, he pushed back his chair, stood, and addressed the studio with quiet authority. "I'm sorry, but I will not continue this conversation," he declared. The reaction was instantaneous. The studio froze. Cameras continued rolling as the audience gasped in disbelief. Producers and co-hosts scrambled, calling his name, but Neeson remained resolute. Calm, dignified, and unwavering, he walked off the set, leaving a stunned studio behind. In the aftermath, social media erupted. Clips of the dramatic exit circulated within minutes, sparking debates and reactions worldwide. Viewers praised Neeson for maintaining his dignity, while discussions about the limits of playful provocation dominated conversations online. It became a defining moment in live television history, a testament to personal boundaries, professional integrity, and the unpredictable power of live broadcasting. That day, Liam Neeson reminded everyone that even in the glitz and glamour of Hollywood, some lines are simply not to be crossed, and true composure speaks louder than words ever could. If you want, I can also condense all 3 expansions into a single, ultra-dramatic 1,800-word story for maximum impact. Do you want me to do that?